Sassy, sassy. What's good? What's good? What's poppin', everybody? I am showing you guys my little hold on sketchbook little tour. This is my sketchbook. Somebody was asking me about my process of how I ink things, and the reason why I use newsprint is because I want a lot of mileage with my drawings. So the thing is if I'm using like really nice paper, I don't know, let's say like something like really nice paper, I tend to be more careful and I don't want to use up so much of that nice paper. But I need to draw, I need to practice more. So I use this newsprint from Blick. It's 12 by 8, and this pretty much is my practice sketchbook. So I practice all of my messiness here. This is where I can make all of my mistakes. Right? And I just use like a pen and a brush. And this is not for anybody to see. This is purely just for me, which is why everything is just like a mess. And what you'll find is like when I draw and some of the inks kind of like bleed through. Like you guys can see here, right? Like it begins to like bleed. But I try to ignore it because I don't like to have something there when I'm drawing. But you guys can see here, I'm just gonna go through this kind of. It's really messy. I'm just drawing like boxes. I'm just drawing random stuff. A lot of this is me experimenting and practicing. And you guys can see here, yeah, I'm just drawing shoes. I'm just drawing boxes. I'm just trying to find form. Um, it's again, this is not a pretty sketchbook. It's not meant to be a pretty sketchbook. This is more for myself so I can get mileage in. Same thing here. I try to draw shoes. I try to draw what does that feet look like? What does it look like underneath? And some of these I will use reference. So like this, I use reference. And then this, I won't use reference because I'm trying to see if I could like turn the form without looking. And then again, this is all inks, but sometimes if you guys can kind of see it, some of the inks will like bleed through, which explains why the dots are there. So like here, like where I stop with the ink, and then it'll have the most ink, and then like it'll start to like bleed through. Right? So let me just go through all this quickly. Yeah. So even here, like you'll see like because the newsprint is so cheap, it begins to like bleed. Not even bleed, but you could see the ghost lines from the page in the back. And then look, right? Again, these are like really. I'm not trying to do good drawings. I'm just marking. I'm just getting mileage. I'm just practicing, doing everything I can. Let's see. Here I'm doing a bunch of heads. Doing more heads. I'm trying to do the free run angle, just trying to understand how that works. And you can still see like how thin this newsprint is because you get to see all this stuff. But I try to do it by looking at a reference, and then I'm gonna try and turn it without looking at the reference. What does it look like when it's up, when it's sideways? And I just keep doing that like over and over and over again. So like even here, I'm just like constantly doing this. It's like it's not very clean and good, but that's the point. I want to use this cheap ass newsprint. So you guys can even see here when I put the light in. Oh yeah, there we go. Can you guys even see that? Did it even show? Like it begins to ghost because the newsprint is so cheap. Okay. Again, more drawings. More drawings. These were some studies I saw from an artist. And then I'll show you guys my, like this. Let me show you my, so Okay, what is this? Almost there. Okay, so this one, you guys can see, like, for example, I did this one as like a, I wanted to try a different composition, but I didn't like how I was flowing with this. And then here, I'm, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just practicing with the pen. And then on the next page, I, I just, I do like a warm up and see what I can think about. And then I'm gonna try another design, maybe something cooler. And I don't really, I don't use any kind of uh, markings. There's a technique for that. I definitely do use that for work, especially if I'm doing like if I want like a different approach to like concepts. I will use like markers. Like I have like little brush pens and stuff, like these brush for painting, and you could do a light shade and start to make designs from a silhouette. Um, but yeah, I'm constantly just making messy iterations of things, constantly making different designs, and I the last thing I want is to have some kind of pre-made image and then start designing, because I actually get more stressed now if I was to do it that way. If I have something like, okay, I have a sketch and now I can do this, I feel like I need to make it perfect. And I don't like that feeling. So um, that's why I just want to approach it this way. Yeah, again, it's like constantly studying. I won't look at reference. And if I get stuck, I will look at reference. I will like for example, here, if I'm looking at like I first studied medieval armor, and then I'm going to do it without looking at it over and over and over again. And then I'm going to see if I could do it in different positions, different poses, dressing people up. So, yeah. This is my messy sketchbook, and I have like a couple of these. Yeah, these. That frog dude. From here. So, ugh, look at this. What the hell? This was my first one. I was like, what the fuck is that? I don't like that. And then I tried to do it again. It was a little bit better. I still don't like it. So I was trying to figure out the pose. And yeah. But yeah, that is my little sketch tool, huh? Right. I highly recommend you guys. Oh shit, what the fuck happened here? Yeah. See, that's what happens with these newsprint papers. It kind of bleeds through, but that's okay. I'm not, I don't want like to be so caught up on the quality of my paper that I mentally block myself from drawing and making mistakes. So that's why I use cheap newsprint. I use cheap newsprint and a pen, and I can just like practice. I'm just trying to practice. And I'm almost done with this. Um, I would spend, if I wasn't busy with work and life, if I was just a student, I would fill this up in maybe a month or less, because all I'm doing all day, every day is this. This is just like, I think I was so busy last year during the fall time, but yeah, and then I'm gonna get another one, and I'm gonna have a different approach, and yeah, so I highly recommend you guys have a newsprint. It's cheap, it's easy, and it allows you to make mistakes and just draw and just do whatever the hell you gotta do. All right, bye bye.